And hey, y'all, welcome to another episode of the Games at Work podcast. And we're in episode six. Crazy. So, what's going on, Vern?
Oh, not much, living and gaming, man. What about you?
Dude, the same, man. I'm playing the same game, still playing a little bit of Callisto Protocol and a little bit of Call of Duty on the side, of course, because I gotta stay fresh for Black Ops 6 coming up.
That's right.
Definitely,
That's right.
definitely excited about that. What games are you playing?
Moonlighter, it's a good, action. I was playing it last time. It's a good game. I've been putting a lot of time into it. I'm ready to move on a little bit. Me and you played some Fortnite last night, got us a win. That was pretty nice.
How was it
Um,
great?
yeah, but yeah, man, I've been working a lot. Haven't played as many games lately as I would like to, but my next game it's either going to be a VR game or now that I think about it, maybe a. I'm in a games club of the month on Facebook, and gosh, I can't even remember the name of it now. But anyway, we drew a new game, and I'll probably pick that one up. I can picture it, but I can't. Anyway,
Nice. I don't know. I follow it. I'm in the same group, but I don't even know half the time what they're playing. So
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I like it because they'll make you try games that you wouldn't normally try. Moonlight, the game that I play now, somebody voted on last month, and when I looked into it, I was like, "Oh, that actually looks cool." So I went ahead and bought it and played it. Um, Axiom Verge. That's the game that they're playing this month,
okay,
and it looks cool. It's like a platforming game, so I might play that next. So they do two games simultaneously. They do a under 20 hour game that lasts for 1 month, and then they do a game of the quarter, 3 month, and over 20 hours. So I
nice.
usually just play the short ones because
Yep,
long games, man,
yep.
they're tough to get through now.
Well, yeah, we're parents, so we
Mhm.
gotta cut back on the long games. Like I said last episode, the game that I played before Callisto Protocol was Jedi Survivor, and so
Mhm.
that game's not too long. But I have to be honest here. I had about a couple levels left, and I put it into story mode. Yeah. I had to, man. I was like, I need
Oh,
to play something else. And let me tell you, story mode is just like the Star Wars movies. You can just slash through all the guys, all your enemies really quick. And so that's what I did. I admit it, no shame, because I needed to move on to another game. Like, I'd been playing that game since I think the end of June, I think. And I was
yeah.
just like, okay, it's time to move on. So, but great game though. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've done that before. The time I'll really do that is when I run into a game that I'm frustrated with and I'm going to quit if I don't do it. If I don't switch to easy because it's either 90% of the time it's because it's just too hard.
Yep.
Uh, I guess I'm getting worse as or games are getting harder, but some of these games will come out and I just give up or if I'm going to give up and there's a difficulty setting, I'll switch. But I don't do it. I'll admit it in my reviews when I do it, but I don't like to do it. I
Oh
hate it.
yeah. I mean, I really don't like it either. But when you're just playing a long game, and it is tough because
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor, like I said last time, you have to be so good at parrying against an enemy's attacks. So if you don't do it correctly, even on like normal or whatever, I think I was playing on Jedi Knight. I think it's one step above normal. I thought, but it got crazy. So I just was like, all right, I have to move on. Anyways, we'll move on to the game we're going to talk about. And this game is pretty special to us because we spent probably 2 years playing together. We had a group of four guys, and Vern here got the bright idea to make a tournament out of this game. And so this game is MFL, or Mutant League Football. Um, and I guess this was kind of a remake because this came out in the 90s, and I believe it
Mhm.
was on the Sega Genesis.
Yep.
And so they remade this, came out on PS4. I believe it was on PS3 as well. And the only thing that I can kind of, you know, what this game is similar to other games is probably like I'd say Blitz.
Mhm.
It's like an NFL parody game, kind of
Yep.
like Blitz, and we just had the best time playing this game. And so I'll go ahead and get the questions kicked off for you, Vern. What were the things that you liked specifically about this game?
Well, before I answer that, did you play the original on the Genesis?
No, did you?
No, I didn't either. I bought it and still haven't played it. So I have the original back over here, but I need to play it. But yeah, three things I liked about the game, or I've got some more. I love the brutality. The It's vulgar, brutal. There's body parts flying everywhere. The ref is talking junk to you. Um, there's hazards on the field, razor blades or holes or worms that eat you. It's just insane. And I like the arcade aspect of it. I would say I prefer arcade games over realism. Like I'm playing the new NCAA game,
Oh
College
yeah.
Football 25. Me and you both have it, and
Oh
it's a
yeah.
lot of fun. Like I really am enjoying it. But if I had to choose, I'm going to choose an arcade game like Blitz. Me and you, we probably will make an episode on Blitz.
Oh
We
yeah.
grew up playing that together, and then when this came out, it was just right up our alley. And like you said, we got into it. I love the competitive nature of this game. Um, and we did that tournament for 2 years, around 2 years. So much fun, man. We would make a bracket every week, either single or double elimination. We would have a prize included. We would talk crap all week. We would stream the games and watch it. Um, I love the trick plays in this game. It adds a lot of depth, actually, to this game because you can bribe the ref and he's going to call like a penalty on the other player no matter what. So if you suspect that they're going to use one of their trick plays that's going to guarantee them a touchdown, but you called or you bribed the ref right then, they'll call it back. So when you bribe the ref, what trick play to use and when to use it, there's so much strategy and depth. uh, I love it. I mean, it is so much fun, and it adds to the just the competitive nature of this game. But what about you? What are some things you
Oh
like about it?
man, I basically the same things that you were saying. I liked the dirty trick aspect, and so yeah, these were dirty tricks that were legal to do, and each team had, I believe, about four, two on offense, two on defense that you
Mm,
could do whether you were on offense or defense. And so the team that I played with was the Green Bay Attackers, and so I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. So
mm,
the Green Bay Attackers was the parody team for the Green Bay Packers, and they played at Slambone Field instead of Lambeau Field. It was just awesome, and so their emblem is like a radiation sign. It's a radiation emblem on their hazard. So it was just insane. And so, of course, I gravitated over to that team because I'm a Packer fan. And so the trick plays that they had on offense was flame on. And so what happened was the running back would catch on fire and he'd run to go score a touchdown. And so all the other defensive players would light on fire. And it was just crazy because it would basically kill the other players. They light on fire and fall over, so you could go score a touchdown. The second play or trick play that I really liked was the Sonic Blast. So this was a passing play where the quarterback would throw a deep ball way downfield, and once the receiver caught it, it would be a big Sonic Blast, and it would knock all the other defensive players down, and you would go score a touchdown because nobody was there to tackle you, and it was just
yeah.
awesome. Really, really liked that. I thought it was very unique because, like you said, we played a lot of Blitz together back in the day. And Blitz was great. I mean, basically no rules, which is awesome. It was arcadey, it was fast. But I think the trick plays that MFL had really made that game stand out. It was
Mm,
very unique. And it was really what kept me playing. And I think, it kept us playing as a whole as well during our tournament.
yeah.
And yeah, I'll talk about the tournament too. Like I said, Vern got the idea. He would send out brackets, like he said, every week, and it was just so much fun. And so our little reward would be something that Vern had gaming wise that he would just send out to us, and it was just hilarious. Little prizes here and there, it was just so fun. We had the greatest time, you know, playing this game together, and it was just a great time to like fellowship with each other, see how we're doing, talk, and like Vern said, we streamed the game so we could watch each other play and cook up some strategy next time for the different people we were playing against, and it was just awesome. And I'll go back to the hazards too, like you were playing. So yeah, there were hazards, mines, holes, spikes that would come up at midfield and just impale you, and you'd fumble the ball because of that.
Yeah.
So you had to really be on your toes in this game. You had to not only be like, okay, if you're on offense or defense, you had to be well aware of the hazards that were in the field because it played a significant role on if you lost the ball or not. Because 9 times out of 10, you ran into one of those things, or if a giant worm ate you at midfield, you'd fumble the ball, and the other team would get it and score a touchdown most likely. I mean, not only hazards, but they had hazards in the goalpost also. Like, so for example, there was a team, gosh,
Tampa Bay.
yes, Tampa Bay. But I forgot their crazy name though. But
I don't.
they, what was it, man?
I can't remember. Oh gosh, I'll think of it in a second.
Man, but like, so they had a sale.
Mutineers.
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 Okay, so Buccaneers, real life, Mutineers. So yeah, they had a sale that would come up and down while you were kicking a field goal. So you had to make sure that you kicked it just right so that you could get a field goal. So honestly, what we started to do was we started to just go for 2 point conversions because it was
Yeah.
so hard to try to kick field goals. Because I mean, there were stadiums where it would just move back and forth, gates
Yeah.
would close, open and close. It was just insane. So you really had to be strategic in your plays. Like Vern was talking about, bribing the ref. You had to just know your team and the stuff that you were capable of doing because I mean you had all these things against you. And once again, I'll just go back to uniqueness because I had never played a football game like that before. I mean,
Hmm.
it was just insane. In fact, I would say, you know, to me that game was better than Blitz because it added
Yeah.
so much more to the, no rules aspect of football, which made it really good. But anyway, so we talked a lot about the greatness of this game and what we like and the tournament that we had. So, Vern, what are some things that you did not like about this game?
So I love this game, and when you were talking about football games, I do think it's better than Blitz. In fact, I think this is my favorite football game ever made. I
Oh
think
yeah,
this is my favorite one. But boy, does it have some bugs, bugs,
unfortunately,
bugs, bugs. So we played this on PS4, and there are a ton of issues that are still they're still updating this game. Like they update the rosters. Now we haven't played it, or I haven't played it in at least a year, maybe longer. But they were still updating rosters. Like they probably took Brady out and put the new quarterback in. Like they update the game, but there are bugs that still linger in there. One of the reason we stopped, probably the single biggest bug me and my brother ran into a lot, and it was the away team, the person being invited couldn't see the play clock sometimes, or it would be stopped on their screen, but rolling on whoever's wasting the clock. And clock management, as you know, in football games, is imperative. Like it's so important to calling timeouts, and it can. So we were starting to win and lose games because of that. Um, and once we noticed the bug, it that is such a big factor in football games. So it would happen probably in 50% of the games where either the play clock would stop completely, and or it would be rolling for somebody and not for somebody else, or they couldn't see it. So that was a huge issue. Um, but there's a ton of bugs that are funny. I don't know if you remember, but hiking to the other team,
oh yeah,
like Yeah, so you would just say hike, and then it would go right to the other team, and you're like, "What is going on?" And it would happen in maybe 1 out of 50 games or something. But when it happened, it was hilarious and frustrating if it happened to you. But we would just say, "That's MFL,"
That's
you know.
MFL, man. Yep.
That's MFL. It's just part of the craziness. The bugs are part of the craziness.
Yeah.
So another criticism I have is I think you found some people to play with online, but the game is not very popular, and we didn't start playing it. It came out in 2018, and I don't think we started playing it until 2020 or 21, maybe. So we played it 2 years later, and maybe it was more popular online, but 90% of the time we played with each other anyway in those tournaments, weekly tournaments. I mean, we did those weekly tournaments for a solid year without
Oh yeah.
stopping every week. It was so much fun. But um, yeah, you couldn't find other people, or I couldn't very often. You could find people, but it wasn't like a huge player base in this game, which is unfortunate because it's amazing. In the last criticism I have, it's part of it's MFL, but my brother is so annoying. And he used this team with
Oh
Galaxy Quest,
yeah. I don't even know.
dude. I don't know. It was the alien team, and
Yeah.
the field was in slow motion. It made the whole game in slow motion, and it was annoying to play on it. And he knew I hated it, so he would invite me on his field. It wasn't like slow motion, but it was slower than normal. It might have been like 75% speed. So you would just have to get used to it. But the game that's just part of the game, and it is hilarious and funny. But lots of bugs. What are some criticisms you have?
Oh, same. I wrote down the same things, all the bugs that we had, you know. And yeah, that happened to you when you were playing me. So I actually thought that you threw the ball and it just my guy got it, but you actually hiked it. And I remember watching the camera flip over and I have the ball and I'm like, what's going on? I have the ball. Okay. So yeah, I mean, huge disadvantage to anybody that happened to, but
Yeah,
the game clock also, like Vern was talking about it. Yeah, if you were, I think it was people on the home team, right? The home
I can't.
team.
One of the teams was at a huge
Yeah.
disadvantage.
I mean, so they were able to see the clock while you weren't. So they were purposely letting the clock run down because they could see the clock, but you couldn't and you didn't know what
Hmm.
was going on. So that was just horrible. And remember, this game came out in 2017, and we were playing it, 3, 4 years later, and they still had bugs in it.
Hmm.
And like Vernon said, they do go back and they update it. So you would think that, well, hey, wouldn't they kind of put a patch in there? Hey, let's fix this or whatever, and hey, let's do this. But they obviously haven't done that
Hmm.
yet, and it's crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, we ended up just embracing all that, and we wouldn't quit games if that happened. We kept
Mhm.
going, and if a person just happened to luck out and get a good glitch that benefited them and won the game because of it, we just let it go because yes, we
Yeah.
did just say that's MFL,
Yeah.
So it was just great, and I just had the most fun playing that with everybody.
Yeah.
It was just totally just an awesome game. I know we're talking about negatives, but one good thing about this game, like you said, is they do go in and they update, the rosters.
Hmm.
So it's kind of cool because they're still doing that. Whereas, you could go buy Madden every year, but they're still going and updating an older game, which I think is pretty cool. That way you don't really
Yeah.
have to.
And it's not full price either. Isn't this like a
Exactly.
30, 20 to 20 or
Yeah.
$30 game?
Yeah. I think it's like $30.
And this is the way games should be made. Just
Yeah.
like you were saying, Madden charges you $70 every year for an updated roster and maybe
Yeah.
a feature or two. This game costs $30 seven or whatever it is 6 years ago, and it's still getting updates, which is insane. And we supported the game. There's also teams DLC teams you could buy,
Oh
and
yeah.
we bought them because we wanted to support this team.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
small group in Ukraine,
Yeah.
um, and they're working on this team and or on this game still to this day. They're still updating it, and there's even one guy, Kyle Peffers, that makes a podcast. We're not sure if he still does it, but he does a podcast about this game, and they are like in contact with him, and he has like a whole podcast on this game, and Ryan here was on it. Tell him just a little bit about the podcast.
Yeah.
Like yeah,
So, I, like we said, we don't think there's a huge following now, like a ton of people playing it. However, we were in our tournament one night, and I was streaming on Twitch, and this guy like started messaging me and was like, "Hey, how's it going? Do you want to, get on my podcast and talk about why you like the game?" And I was just thinking, this has to be a bot. Like, why would anybody want to like, ask me to come on their podcast or anything? So I was like, "Nah, I don't have time. Whatever. Or, you're not real. Whatever." It turns out he's a real dude. I was like, "No way, man." So I
yeah,
get on the podcast, just talk about how our tournament is just awesome, and I invited other people to play, but unfortunately nobody extra ended up playing with us. But it was just a really cool experience. And another thing, like, so the main guy um, that did this game, basically, he was the same guy that did Battle Tanks back in the day, remember,
that's
on
right.
64. So it was the
Yeah,
same guy that did that. And, of course, they did Mutant Football back on the Genesis, kind of the same time period, I think, as Battle Tanks. But it's the same guy that worked on, Battle Tanks, which I thought was an awesome game, too, back in the day. It was a multiplayer tank shoot 'em up game.
that's one of my favorite N64 games of all time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that. You told me that
Hmm.
after we started playing. It's the same developer. I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Digital Dreams, I think, is the developer,
Yeah,
and the guy was Michael Manheim. So pretty cool. And on Kyle Pepper's podcast, he has Michael Manheim on there quite often talking about the game. And it was just a really cool experience. I'd never gotten to do something like that, and was really humbled to do that. It was just really cool. So
yeah,
it
that
was a
was
good
awesome.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, we all listened to it. We were proud, man. It's like one of our own up there.
Yeah.
So, what made the game stand out to you overall? Like, what would you say that makes this game special?
Um, just like we talked about, it's a blitz esque game with more added craziness. You
Hmm.
know, the the hazards, the trick plays, the bribing of the ref, all of that stuff, plus getting to play with you and our other friends, just made it even more special to play.
Yeah,
I can't think of a game where I got more into playing with people than this game, because
yeah,
we did this for probably off and on for like 2 years, and it was
yeah.
just fun. We had fun every time we played it, and I had never heard of it. You told us about it. I'd never heard of the old one on the Genesis, and so I got to say that was a great pick, man, for telling us about that.
Yeah, I'm always on the hunt for the next game like this. This is one the thing that makes this game stand out to me is there's like games in my life that like have a huge impact. One is like Lord of the Rings when me and you lived. We did an episode on it. Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth 2. This is one of my favorite gaming memories ever. We had 4 or 5 of us at one point, and we were playing this all the time. I remember one time me and my wife were out to dinner, and I'm watching this game on my phone, chips and salsa coming. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we're about to score. It's so ridiculous. I'm watching a an arcade football game being streamed, and because we were like into it, like you would call me or Ken, whoever would call me, and I'm like, what do you think he's going to do this week? Because you would learn that player and how they played and what trick plays their team had. You had to understand your team, their team, what and when they were going to use what plays. It was so much fun, and we'd go on losing sprees, winning sprees, and we'd just talk a bunch of junk um, in our group chat, and I would make like little posters of like almost like boxing, like marketing, where like this person versus this person, and every week we would make like a bracket, and like what are the theme of this bracket? I like flowers. I would make these dumb little brackets and update it. It was so much fun. And we're excited about the second one.
Oh yeah.
We're like for a long time. For a year now we've been talking about it. Ukraine, they've got a bunch going on right now. So hopefully the game comes out, but it is out on Steam. The what is it called? The beta
Beta,
alpha.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they have a version of it on Steam, but it still says it's coming to PS5 and modern consoles. So, um, hopefully it does.
Be great if it comes out for Christmas. Come on, just come out for Christmas and be the
Gosh, that is a day one purchase for all of us. Like
same.
it,
Yeah,
every one of us will buy. I think the first one will Mutant Football, not the '93 version, but this one, I think it was crowdfunded. Um, I think. And the players' jerseys, if you'll look, isn't that right? Aren't they like named after? Or no, maybe it's not. Anyway, I think it was crowdfunded. I think this
yeah.
one was crowdfunded, and I'm not sure if the second one is. I don't think it is, but I really hope it comes out. And yeah, like you said, if it came out for Christmas, man, it would be epic.
Best
Gosh, it
Christmas
would.
ever.
Yeah, dude, it would be just the best Christmas present ever. I would definitely buy special edition, whatever.
Oh yeah,
Um,
steel book.
Yeah, dude, still version, whatever. Um, but yeah, man, this is one of my favorite gaming experiences, and I wish more games came out like this. We used to play the bigs. There used to be a lot of games like arcade games. I guess it was more
NFL
of like
Street.
yeah, NFL Street.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, man, there was a bunch of them. NBA Jam.
Yeah.
There used to be a bunch of games like this, and they just don't make them. Oh, what is our Super Nintendo game?
Oh
Super
yeah,
Super
Super
Baseball.
Baseball 2020. Yes.
Yes, dude. So we've been playing games like this since I mean we were in college,
Oh
man.
yeah.
We love these are our kind of games right here.
Oh yeah.
And this one is just one of the best.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
And just hoping it comes out. Second one comes out soon because I'd love to play it. But
Shoot, yeah.
definitely, man. Well, we'll go ahead and end it on that, y'all, and tune in next time for the next episode, and we'll see you then.
Later, guys.
Bye.